Clarkson, you infantile pillock.
Oh, cock.
We're here for the RuneScape stream. Okay, so before I dive into the actual meat of the tier list itself, I want to give like a introduction to this, because in my opinion, the sniper is a hideously, fundamentally flawed addition to Team Fortress 2. That's my opinion, and it's never going to change. And I feel like I need to convey why I don't like this class, so people understand a lot of my ratings on these items. Because I know a lot of people are here to just watch me shove everything up in the broken tier and then be done with it. No, I'm actually gonna try to treat this tier list like I've done the rest. But in order for people to understand why I don't like the class, I need to like say some shit before I start going through each of the weapons. So bear with me when I do that, and to have like a sort of symbolic gesture for the entire thing, I'm just putting the stock sniper rifle up in broken tier, and that's where it's gonna stay. So let me explain why I think the sniper's fucking broken. I have notes. I had to make notes for this one because I have a lot to say about this one fucking class, dude. Oh, yes, he has notes? Oh, God forbid he comes prepared. Personally, I think that the sniper's existence inside of Team Fortress 2 is a complete and utter design flaw on Valve's part. They made 8 classes that are mostly effective at medium to close range, and then they made a 9th class that's able to insta-kill 4 out of those 8 classes in a fraction of a second at infinite range. To me, that just doesn't make sense design-wise. That's just like the first thing I need to say. That, to me, makes no sense. But that's never gonna go away. Sniper's never gonna go away. He's stuck, and we're gonna have to deal with the problems he has. That's just a fact of life. And my number one problem with Sniper, this is the biggest fucking problem I have with this class, is his utter lack of counterplay. His fucking lack of counterplay. He can go from moving and jumping around to scoping in and insta-killing 5 out of the 9 classes in the game in less than half a second at any range. Whenever someone dies to a sniper, they never have an actual chance to engage with the sniper, unlike any of the other 8 classes and any other kind of battle. Every time this happens, whenever you engage in this distance battle, or even when the sniper misses a shot, he largely goes unpunished, unless an enemy sniper is aware of his presence and, he can be counter-sniped. The only other class in the game that you can engage him most of the time. That's the only way this class is actively countered, is with another sniper. That's it. Or if any of the other 8 classes happens to be within their own effective range, which by comparison is extremely limited compared to his. There's not much a player can do in order to counter a sniper. You can try to get out of his line of sight, but his reload is so fast that he'll kill you before you have a chance to do that. You can jump and move around, so it's, you make yourself harder to hit, but then that fucks with your own vision and your own aim, making you a complete sitting duck to the rest of his team. You can try to flinch him with your own weaponry, but given his distance and lack of visibility, good luck. Not to mention he can still headshot you while flinching. All of that is the pure definition of a lack of counterplay. Specifically for Team Fortress 2, only one class, the same class, is the most effective counter. Sniper versus sniper. That is my number one fucking problem with this class. Whenever you are in a fight with a sniper, you are never directly engaging him. He's only ever engaging you, and you are at the complete mercy of his infinite range. And that's it. That's my main problem. Now, what do I mean by snipers going unpunished? That's something else I want to cover. An unscoped sniper can scope in, fire a shot, miss, and then try again, largely unabated without any sort of punishment. Every other class in this game is punished for this because they're always engaged in some sort of close quarters fight, where every shot counts. You miss a shot, you die. They miss a shot, they die. This still stands for sniper versus sniper as well. But for a sniper against any other class within, outside of their own much shorter effective range, a missed shot is of absolutely no consequence to the sniper, especially when the person they're fighting can't fight back because they're so far away. And assuming they can even do anything, assuming they've even seen the sniper. Any other class just doesn't have enough time to try and get out of his line of sight or close the distance to retaliate before he has another opportunity to shoot and fire again, thanks to his fast reload speed and ability to quickscope and kill someone in 0.2 of a second. Again, people only have a chance to retaliate assuming they've ever seen the sniper in the first place, which, let's face it, rarely happens given the sniper's lack of visibility at his effective range of far as fuck away. And thanks to this greater distance, a sniper has a huge window of time to exploit. He can fire off multiple shots and lay waste to the entire enemy team before any other class has a chance to even land a single effective shot on him, assuming they can even get close to him unless, of course, it's another sniper counter-sniping him. That huge time window that a sniper has to act and take multiple shots before someone has a chance to retaliate, that is what I mean by unpunished. That should change. Now, when it comes to sniper, a very common counter-argument in favor of sniper is respect the sightline, bro, which doesn't really hold water when hardscoping is the only case in which this statement holds true, because a sniper can instantly create any sightline he wants to by clicking mouse 2, and so long as he can see you, you're dead. The sniper isn't just constrained to common sightlines on maps. Not to mention the fact you can simply, shut down massive areas on a map as sniper, preventing the entire team from being able to progress in a match against a good sniper, which is also telling of his balance. The sniper is supposed to be balanced out by his tunnel vision, which is completely lost when he can quickscope and be equally as effective, if not more effective, than hardscoping all the time. This is, again, a design flaw on Valve's part, which, some minor balance tweaks could adjust and make better. Which brings us to another counter argument in favor of sniper. Oh, well, just flank the sniper and go where he can't see you. I think a lot of people seem to forget that this is Team Fortress 2, not MGE. You not only have to deal with the sniper, but his entire fucking team. So those alternate routes in order to get to the sniper are oftentimes protected by his team, or guess what? Another sniper. Who would have fucking thought there could be more than one? The amount of effort it takes to flank an enemy sniper to get rid of him or to deter him from shooting again is so far, it so heavily outweighs the amount of influence a sniper can have with just a fraction of that effort. You have to sacrifice teammates, ubercharge, what have you, to even have a chance against a good sniper that's protected by his team. And even then, with a successful push, you usually only manage in scaring off the sniper rather than killing him, making your team overly reliant on counter-sniping or multiple uber pushes to push into a single player. That's fucked up. Assuming he didn't, of course, one-shot your medic across the map before he even had a chance to pop that uber. Going back to another problem with sniper that I have, is that he's supposed to be like this weak glass cannon type of class. Something that should be very strong, but very fragile against direct engagement. Unfortunately, his plethora of secondaries and melees grant him increased survivability against his main counters at close range, and he can still quickscope at close range with the same frequency at any other range, with no damage penalty whatsoever. Yes, I understand. The efficacy of quickscoping drops as his proximity to his target increases, but not enough to classify him as a glass cannon, especially when paired with all of his secondaries and melees that largely act as, get out of jail free cards. We'll get to more of those as I'm moving through the tier list, but just to give that general statement right now. And then that goes to another common counter argument for sniper. Yes, let's just dodge the sniper. Just move, just dodge sniper. Make yourself hard to hit. Yes, let's just dodge hit scan, an undodgeable mechanic. Again, I think the phrase people are looking for is just make yourself harder to hit. Okay, so let's think about what it takes to make your head hard to hit. Aside from avoiding entire areas of the map that the sniper's looking over, you can just try not to walk in a straight line, which is required to get out of a sight line. You have to get from point A to point B to get out of the way. You just can't teleport to some new spot where the sniper can't fucking see you. You gotta move in some manner of predictable way and get the fuck out of the way. So, avoid being predictable. You have to move erratically in order to not have your head be easily shot. Okay, fair. We can do that. We can move erratically, make our heads harder to hit. That's fine. But the sniper isn't the only one we gotta worry about. We gotta worry about his entire fucking team. And remember, when you're flipping and flailing about trying to make your head hard to hit, you can't see well, you can't shoot and defend yourself, you are at the complete mercy of everyone else on the enemy team, and you're fucked. Okay, sure, let's say now there's no one else around, and it's just you, and it's just that sniper. Okay, he misses his first shot, but then he immediately gets to reload and try again, while the entire time you're trying to make yourself hard to hit and close that distance to him. And more often than not, you're gonna fucking die before you can get there. The final problem, last thing, final problem I have with Sniper is his lack of visibility. This is a huge one. You usually only notice a Sniper when he's too late. Sniper acts in the background and not the foreground like every other class in the game. When he fires a shot, there is no strong audio-visual indication that he's done so unless you die, or if you're close enough to actually hear the shot go off or see his firing animations. But if you're that close enough to see him and hear him, you're probably already within your own effective range and can usually take him out. It doesn't happen where it counts. You rarely hear an enemy Sniper when it matters, given how far away he is and the cacophony of other noises that go into an active game. Not to mention this rarely happens because, again, the target that a Sniper's engaging is usually so far away to witness those audio-visual cues that, again, they just go completely unnoticed. And I understand that's what the definition of a Sniper is, but every other weapon in the game, aside from sniper rifles, has some form of audio-visual cue that they're being fired. Either visible projectiles, bullet tracers, particles, and sounds that indicate the weapon is going off, or that an aggressor is somewhere nearby. This aspect of lack of visibility is, again, just poor game design on Valve's part, and this problem's never gonna go away, but we can make some changes to help mitigate this problem. And this also is like a nice double punch on the avoid the sightline bro argument, because how do you know where to avoid if you can't see him unless you manage to catch his really tiny silhouette in the background, usually masked, behind map objects, other players, explosions, things that are usually blocking your field of view to actually see that sniper. And two, you can't tell where he's recently fired or where he's looking unless you spot the teeny tiny little sniper dot up against a wall that is usually very easily masked by that same sniper just moving his cursor over a few pixels onto a target that you can't see. Sniper's fucked. What solutions do I offer for reworking the sniper to counteract these problems? There are 3 suggestions I have. 1, all sniper rifles should have some form of tracer, either similar to the one that the Classic has or the one the Machina has. That way, his failed shots or shots on other targets that actually land can be readily identified by everyone, just like every other weapon in the fucking game. This would solve the visibility issue and make his presence more readily known so people can respect the sightline, bro. And that also, again, visibility. The high GPS balance mod does this, and it's a really welcome change. The second thing I want to see happen is drop his max ammo count to something like 8 shots, no more than 10. This forces a sniper to reposition more often, breaking his streaks of sitting in one spot and acting unabated for extended periods of time, giving opportunities for the enemy team to push in when he runs out of ammo and he's forced to move. And 3, slow the sniper down, so he's actually punished for missing a shot, and players have a chance to retaliate or get the fuck out of his sightline before he has a chance to fucking insta-kill them. The main thing I see, or what I would prefer, is to increase his universal reload speed, so he's actually punished for missing a shot. In a lot of other first-person shooter games, snipers are balanced in several ways, and one of the main ways of balancing a sniper class is with a long reload time. The longer reload time allows for players to take evasive action or retaliate and close the distance. This would also weaken the sniper at close range, making those close range quickscopes that much more valuable against the sniper's target that he's engaged with. And if he misses, he should be fucked. With those changes, sniper versus sniper would be completely unchanged. Quickscopes would be unchanged, just the reload speed. And again, sniper v sniper would still be the same way. Whoever's fired, whoever misses first is the loser. There you go. Any of these 3 changes would just seriously improve the class as a whole and would address any of the counterplay issues that he has. A popular change that I hear for sniper that was proposed by somebody else is that they should give him a clip to reload, and I don't think that's a good idea because that doesn't change the speed at which he can headshot. All that does is just, it gives him these intermittent bursts of the exact same mechanics, either like 4 or 5 shots, then he has this long reload time. So he has 4 or 5 regular shots, but then he can perfectly time when to get out of a sightline and out of an engaged fight to safely reload behind cover, and then immediately go back to doing the same shit again. That wouldn't change anything. One more thing I want to mention about sniper before we actually get into all the rest of the items here. Just because a mechanic is hard to pull off consistently doesn't mean it's balanced. Just because something is hard to do, it doesn't automatically make it fair and balanced. For example, let's remember the old Sandman guillotine combo. You guys remember that? When the Sandman ball would hit a target and completely remove their ability to shoot, and then you could follow up with a cleaver and usually one-shot light classes? That was not that easy to pull off. You had to land 2 high-speed projectiles as the fastest class in the game and land both in rapid succession. That took some time and practice to master, but was that fun and fair to fight against? No, not at all, because it completely removed a player's ability to retaliate because they couldn't shoot, and in some cases they couldn't shoot or move depending on how far the ball traveled. But it was hard to pull off. But does it make it fair? Absolutely not. So the counter argument of sniper's hard to master is not a valid argument to say that he's balanced. There's the people, what I'm sure people are gonna call the fucking, oh, Zesty's manifesto against Sniper. His autism's leaking through again. He's being very upset about a class. He's gonna be very upset and angry, and people are gonna, oh, look, he's being upset. Same shit as usual. Again, should have led with the fact that, hey, these are my opinions. If you don't like them, that's fine. You're not gonna ever convince me otherwise. Talk about the classic? All right, we can talk about the classic first. The classic, I would say, is somewhere hovering between C and B tier. I'll probably leave it in C tier. So the classic is a competitor for the worst sniper rifle next to the Sydney Sleeper. So it's worse than the stock sniper rifle because you remove your ability to headshot at any time. You can only headshot when you have a fully charged shot ready, and you're just slowing down your own gameplay. So if you want to be like a really effective sniper, why would you ever use this thing? Most people are only ever using the classic just to be a fucking moron, and they're just dicking around getting body shots. If you want to be a fucking body shot machine with this thing's fucking fun. I only use this just so I can be a fucking moron and just, you know, waddle around like I just took a massive shit in my pants and just pop people for 135 across the map. That shit's fun. I'm never going for headshots with this thing. If you see someone scoping in with a classic, tell them to use any other sniper rifle. They'd be far more effective with it. There's only one thing that I don't really like about the classic, in that it has this weird attribute in that, in theory, it's technically better than any other sniper rifle because this weapon removes the only sort of visual and audio cue, or the only visual cue, I should say, that you're gonna get headshot by it. Because whenever you come across a classic sniper who's charging, you don't know where that charge is. You don't know if he's gonna do 45 or 135, or if he's gonna headshot you, because he's not scoped in. Good luck guessing how much damage he's gonna do to you. That aspect of this weapon I find very annoying, because normally when you go around a corner and you manage to actually spot a sniper who isn't scoped in, you know, great, I have a millisecond before he's gonna scope it and insta-kill me, right? But whenever you come across someone using this thing and they're fucking, you know, waddling around like they got a fucking beaver up, you know, up their arse because they're fucking squeezing those cheeks so goddamn hard while they're charging their gun and waddling around, oh shit, how much damage is he gonna do to me? Am I about to fucking die? And then boop, 135, you're dead if you're playing a light class, or if he manages to actually land a headshot you while unscoped. And the second thing, this item removes what is supposed to be the downside of sniper, which is tunnel vision. You can get headshots without tunnel vision, which is supposed to be like the main balancing aspect of this weapon, is your FOV is reduced in order to get a crit. You don't have to worry about this with this weapon. You want to, you know, actually exploit that, you don't scope in and you have to land your reticule on a very teeny tiny moving dot without scoping in to, you know, make it easier to hit. So while it has those two really annoying aspects to it of not being able to see when you're gonna get shot and get headshot, and the fact that there's no real tunnel vision downside with this thing, it's still like the second worst, if not the worst sniper rifle, because you just can't quick scope and headshot whenever you want. And this thing, again, is only used for the fun gimmick of waddling around and fucking popping people and exploding them at 135. That's the only time I ever use the thing, is just when I'm fucking dicking around. Using this thing is fucking fun. I love just, you know, fucking bunny hopping, moving at 2 miles an hour, just fucking popping a scout or someone just fucking, oh man, that's fun. And yeah, you can't shoot in midair or underwater with it, but considering how few maps actually have, you know, a water hazard, that's rarely ever realized, and how infrequent this weapon's used anyway. And here's the thing, this weapon should not be able to be fired while jumping. Imagine if you could jump shoot with this and get a crit. That'd be stupid. Oh my god. Because you can still be scoped in with it. They would have to like restrict it to where you could only get headshots while not scoped in order for that to be kind of a balanced mechanic, so you could actually jump and shoot with this thing. But if you can still scope in and jump with it and get a headshot, that'd be fucked. No. Okay, so that's my thoughts on the classic. It's just okay. For me, it's like the second most fun sniper rifle, or primary on sniper, that I have fun with. I usually go for this or the Huntsman or the City Sleeper, because I never use these things because I feel like a dick whenever I play with them. What next? People really want me to talk about the Bazaar Bargain, so I will also talk about the Bazaar Bargain. So the Bazaar Bargain is effectively a direct upgrade to the sniper rifle, and I'll put it above. So the reason for that is because any competent sniper sniper most of the time isn't going for hard scoping. You're quick scoping most of the time, and if you land only 2 shots, it's already better than the stock sniper rifle. And then you can hard scope to your heart's content and then just keep getting more damage on those faster, on however long you want to charge. Yeah, I would definitely consider this weapon busted in the right hands, but that's the same argument for any other sniper rifle. In the right hands, it can be absolutely fucking broken. Just like, you know, because you can get fucking crit headshots from across the map and insta-kill 5 out of 9 classes in the game, or more if you charge. But yeah, this is definitely the snipers, I would say the most, no, it's not the most broken, but it's pretty up there, just because it's a direct upgrade to how good stock is. So yeah, and there is absolutely no downside to using this weapon at all, given the fact that a sniper can reposition and land a headshot whenever he wants. This weapon needs some kind of a downside in order for its, you know, its upsides to be properly balanced out. They changed it so you don't have heads removed when you miss a shot. So now it's pretty much always better than stock, which is insane to me. Oh God, I think they should put it back. You know, if they put that back, you know, every time you miss a shot, you remove 1 head instead of missing all your heads. Like if you miss 1 shot, you don't lose all your heads. You miss 1 shot, you lose 1 head. That might be a good way to balance it out. It's like a risk reward sort of thing. You land a shot, you get a head. Miss a shot, lose a head. That would be a bit more balanced out. So you have to be consistently getting kills and landing headshots in order to maintain that faster charge. And that way, it more heavily rewards skill and heavily punishes you if you miss a shot, unlike what it does now, where it never punishes you if you miss a shot, as it should. But yeah, definitely in the broken needs a nerf territory. Again, reminder, the stock sniper rifle is up here as more of a symbolic gesture as to me absolutely fucking hating the class. If in all reality, it's about A tier, if we were considering this to not be broken and this is objectively broken, it's actually an A tier, but it's staying in fucking broken tier because sniper sucks. Now we have Girardi Bushwhacker, and you really can't talk about the Bushwhacker if you're not talking about the Girardi. We talk about the Bushwhacker first. The Bushwhacker's fucking broken if you're using it with a Girardi. It's a little bit more tolerable if you're using it with a cleaner's carbine, because in order to get those mini crits built up, you have to actually use a weapon that's objectively worse than your default stock secondary. But when the Bushwhacker is paired with the fucking Girardi, this is your get out of jail free card for whenever someone's engaging you at close range, the range at which you're supposed to be weak. If you get caught out by a spy, a pyro, anyone, all you have to do is throw the piss down, whip this out, and get a free 1-shot kill at absolutely 0 effort to the sniper whatsoever, and no risk at all either. You have no risk in running this, because the only downside this item has is a 20% damage vulnerability when the item is active, and it's only ever active in that brief period of time when you're smacking someone and getting 195 damage onto them. That damage vulnerability is not enough of a fucking punishment. It needs something to slow this fucker down, because you can just vomit out the piss and then whip this thing out and get like multiple crits on people. It's fucking ridiculous how powerful this is. And again, this is Sniper's main get out of jail free card. If a spy is close, chuck it down, reveal the spy, 1-shot him. Pyro gets too close, you get caught on fire, chuck this down, you're briefly invulnerable to flame, you get piss on him, 1-shot him. Anyone else gets close, 1-shot him. Sneak up on multiple people, toss the piss down, 1-shot, 1-shot, 1-shot. Why would they give the class that can insta-kill at any range another insta-kill mechanic that is incredibly easy to pull off? I simply do not understand why they would do that. It's fucking stupid. But this item sucks cock when you're not using it with the fucking piss, because if you're not pairing it with something that can mini crit, this thing is just always a worse stock Kukri, because it has the damage vulnerability and no random crits. So if you're not using the Girardi or the Cleaner's Carbine for the gimmick, why are you ever using this thing? It only exists in broken tier because it's paired with the Girardi. That's it. This thing needs a nerf. Someone suggested a slower holster speed, so they have to actually commit to pulling it out. Yeah, I could see that. So they actually have to deal with that damage vulnerability for a longer time, so they actually get punished if they miss their swing. Whereas right now they can immediately put it away. Oh, I missed, put it away. I'm fine. I can back up and keep going away. Meanwhile, this guy's marked for death and the rest of my team can deal with him now because they've likely recognized that he's gotten too close to me, and my people's like, oh shit, someone's behind me. Now I can kill them and I'm totally safe as a sniper because, oh look, I marked him out and I can get away. Nerf the fucking Bushwhacker. I think a lot of people will agree that this thing is fucking dumb. Nerf this dumb thing. So fucking stupid. That's one of many snipers get out of jail free cards at close range because he's supposed to be weak at close range, and this thing makes you not. You have a crit on demand or multiple crits on demand. It's fucking stupid. Don't bother with Bushwhacker, nerf Girardi. I think Girardi's totally fine. If the Bushwhacker didn't exist in the game, the Girardi is still just the perfect best secondary for sniper. But here's the thing. This weapon is the most powerful in the absence of the Bushwhacker when it's being used as has, guess what? A support item, which is what the sniper class is. He is a support class. So he can chuck this out into a group of enemy players, and then his team can follow up and do a bunch of damage. But no snipers ever fucking do this. Every sniper uses this item selfishly and keeps it whenever they need to use this get out of jail free card. If this didn't exist with this current mechanic, this thing would see a lot more use in team play. And it's really effective there, and it's really fucking strong. But here's the thing about Jarate. When you're chucking it over long distances, which is when you're usually doing that team play aspect, this thing's janky. It's a lot more easy to miss your throw at targets that are far away, which is, again, when Sniper's not using this thing. He's usually using the Jarate when someone's right next to him, and he can chuck it down at his feet and immediately get the piss on them and one-shot them. When he's using this in team play, it's a janky throwable projectile that fucks up against countless surfaces in this game, so it's balanced in that it's a janky throwable projectile, it takes a little while to recharge, and your team has to follow up on the damage to make the most use out of it, in the absence of the Bushwhacker. But the fact that the Bushwhacker exists, and it's paired with this, broken when it's paired with this. But on its own, it's completely fine. And probably Sniper's best secondary, in my opinion. Next to the SMG. We have to talk about the Cleaner's Carbine too, because the only time when people are using the Cleaner's Carbine is when they're pairing it with the Bushwhacker as well. This is just an all-around weaker SMG because of the slower firing rate and lower clip size. And then you have, but once you get your crits, you can just fucking go to town with this thing. Oh, it's so fucking dumb. At least, thank God, it's a lot more challenging to build up the damage in order to use the mini crits on this thing, instead of just waiting around for this to recharge and get your free fucking one-shot kill whenever you need it. You have to actually put in the effort and earn the mini crits to crit with this, with the Cleaner's Carbine. Here, absolutely no risk to the sniper himself when he uses this. He just has to wait around for it to recharge, and then he can use this thing again. Whereas with this, he has to actually shoot people with a shitty SMG and deal damage. But whenever it's not being paired with the Bushwhacker, this thing sucks. It's again, just a worse stock SMG, lower damage output, lower clip size. It's ass. Because when are you ever pairing the mini crits with this on just the SMG itself, or any other melee, or even your fucking sniper rifle? You're not. You're only ever going for kills with this thing. And the mini crits with any other melee weapon on Sniper or any of his primaries are just not that good. Perhaps you can make the argument for using it with the Huntsman, because mini crit on Huntsman's really fucking strong, because the charge rate on this is a lot faster, and it's a fast projectile, so it's a bit easier to hit, and so you're more able to quickly get out mini crits with this thing when paired with this. But if you gotta do the clunky mini crit charge with this, activate, swap to a sniper rifle, go for a headshot, go for a body shot, or go for any other weaker melee instead of this, why would you use this thing? Balance Mont's just a great change for Jarate. It can splash on the sniper himself. I like that. Ooh, that's good. That fucks up the sniper hard, man. If he's able to one-shot people, he should be taking 35% extra damage. Just make himself fucking mark for death whenever he has the fucking Bushwhacker out. 35% extra damage, not just 20. That would be good. So let me talk about the Shahanshah. The Shahanshah is weird. So it's kind of bizarre, because sometimes it's really good in that, like, if you're suddenly caught out in like a 1v1 and someone manages to land that first shot on you, then you're doing like, what, 81 damage per swing or something like that, I think is the damage on it. And if you got like fucking, a crit with it, you just one shot whoever's engaging you, except the heavy, I think. If you're above 50% health, this thing is just not nearly as good. The crits are all around weaker, its attacks are all around weaker. It's a very polarizing item, and I would much rather use a weapon that has the same firing speed and the same base damage all the time with crits enabled as Sniper, because, random crits on Sniper are another nice get out of jail free card that he has. It's still nice because, like, if you're really desperate and want to try to get out that fast damage on somebody, then you probably increase your chances of survivability in a close range melee fight by just a little bit if you manage to land a couple of swings with it. It's 25%, not 50. Okay, sorry, 25%. Yeah, it's a 25% damage penalty when above 50% health, and a 25% damage bonus when less than 50%. Sorry, my bad. That's why it does 81 damage. I thought 50 was too high because I would have pushed it above 90. Yes, sorry. So yeah, 25% penalty and bonus when above or below 50% health. Thank you for clarifying that. But yeah, again, it's weird. I tend to find myself using this one most of the time, primarily because I have a cool skin for it. That's really the only reason. And I like the gimmick with it because I find myself usually playing with the Huntsman, so people are usually landing damage on me and getting close to me. And then if they stray too close, I'm usually at low enough health where I can whip this thing out and fucking pop them for 80 damage. And that's usually enough to deter them, like, fuck, I need to back up, or I get a crit and one-shot them. But again, why ever use that risk or have that inherent risk when I could just have this and have random crits all the time and the same base damage, instead of perhaps playing stupid and elongating your engagement time with someone at close range in order to get that bonus damage. The only time when this thing is useful is when you're caught out and being actively hit by someone close to you, and you have enough time to whip it out and smack them. It's the only time when this thing is marginally more useful than just like the stock Kukri. I'll put this in D tier, actually. Yeah, I'll put stock. I mean, stock on sniper is just good as well. Stock Kukri is just good. I mean, it's probably sniper's best melee option next to the bushwhacker. If you're not using this, you're using this because random crits on sniper are just insanely good because it acts as another, guess what? Get out of jail free card if someone gets too close to him. They can just usually whip this out and get a fucking free one-shot kill and go back to what they were doing. In my opinion, no sniper melee should have random crits because he shouldn't be that powerful at close range. Remove random crits on all of his melees and I think it'd be fine. Because if he has this, then why would you ever want to use this, right? Because you don't have to, you know, hold your hands together and pray, please give me a random crit when you can guarantee a crit with this. So I would say remove random crits in general on all sniper melees to make that more balanced as well. Because he should be weak at close range. Okay, so Machina. Machina is really good, don't get me wrong. The downside to this weapon, in that you can't no scope with it, is completely negligible. That's not even a punishment at all. Because again, most of the time with sniper, you're going for headshots. Either you're hard scoping or you're quick scoping. You're only ever going for that desperate body shot whenever you land a headshot on somebody, typically at close range or maybe at far range, and you want to follow up with another 50 to down your target if they happen to have more health than you expected. But most of the time, that's very rarely realized in sniper play. When this thing has nothing but upsides for someone playing sniper using quick scopes or hard scoping. You get bonus damage on the fully charged shot, and you can penetrate players with it. So you can one-shot multiple people in one shot from across the map with hit scan. Fuck, that's busted. But this item is objectively weaker than every other sniper rifle because of its tracers. What good sniper would ever want to give his position away to the enemy team? That's the #1 advantage that sniper has against the enemy team, in that he cannot be fucking seen. So why would you willingly reveal yourself to the enemy team when every other sniper rifle is nearly as effective as this thing all the time, and you don't tell people where you are? That's why it's in B tier. If this thing didn't have a tracer, it'd be up here. But the fact that it has a tracer, it's down here. Because revealing yourself to the enemy team is the #1 thing that fucks a sniper. As soon as someone knows you're there, they can start getting the fuck out of the way, which they should. It should be a thing. His visibility should be higher, and every sniper rifle should have tracers. And if everything did have tracers, then I'll be fucking well and good. The sniper tiers would be completely different if every rifle had tracers. Kill cams exist, but that's the problem. You usually only notice a sniper is there after you die to him because of his lack of visibility. I already went through all of that at the beginning of the fucking stream. I'm not gonna go through it again. Some kind of a tracer on every sniper rifle would be fucking great. Then this thing wouldn't ever have a downside, really, because then, you know, aside from not being able to no scope, so. So yeah, that's 8 weeks, man. That's all 9 classes done. Tier lists are done. We freaking did it. And you know what? It was good. I can now say that if I were to stop making TF2 videos right now, I would be totally fine, because all of my thoughts are now neatly archived into a series of videos for your viewing pleasure, or displeasure, depending on how you want to use these videos. I suppose one could find some shred of joy in getting angry at something they don't like, much like I do with this video game. I enjoy getting mad at video games. It's very cathartic. Get to release a lot of that negative energy built up in me that I can't direct towards anything else. So I get pissed at video games, and if I can't get it out in my normal exercise routine, I just play a video game and get pissed off. So there you go. A lot of people think I like put up an act for some reason, but no, I just get pissed off at video games like a lot of other people do. So yeah, not directing that anger towards anyone in particular, so who gives a shit? But yeah, man, these lists were fun. It was fun engaging with people, and for that I have to thank all of you, because, you know, coming and hanging out with me on my streams and checking me out in the comment section and, you know, making friends down there is, you know, it's always fun doing that. But, you know, just talking about the game is fun for me. It's a good pastime for me. I've been doing it for years, and just being able to do it now with such a wide platform is really cool. Just being able to, like, see what a whole bunch of people think about XYZ and what have you. It's awesome, and it's why I did it. It's just fun. And I really want to thank my editor, who's been doing a lot of the bulk of the editing for me. He's been saving me a lot of time. And I want to thank the guy who's been doing my thumbnails, Jay. Fantastic job as always. It's just like a fucking, award. I would like to thank my mom. I would like to thank my dad. And I would like to use my platform to push my politics from my insulated position. You get the idea, you know. Thank you. It's fun. Just good shit, you know. Just good shit all around. Been fun doing this shit, and more fun stuff to come. Not gonna stop making videos, don't worry. It was just a hypothetical. I'm gonna stop if I were to stop making videos, then I'd be fine. I'm not gonna stop, so you guys are fucking stuck with me. You can't get rid of me, despite the immense amount of pleasure it would bring for many people to see me gone. I ain't going nowhere. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks. Let's do Hitman's Heatmaker. The Hitman's Heatmaker is another really bizarre one. So the Hitman's Heatmaker has reduced body shot damage, the same headshot damage, and when you build up enough damage with it, you can effectively stay hard scoped and fire rounds over and over again. And it's really bizarre because it amplifies the downside sniper is supposed to have in that he's remained in his tunnel vision state and fires over and over again. But the longer sniper's in tunnel vision, the more he's likely to die because he's not able to see what's around him. And unlike every other sniper rifle, where you can just immediately unscope and rescope in and get quick scopes and headshots whenever and however you want, never having to worry about that tunnel vision unless you willingly decide to hard scope, when you know it's safe for you to do so, this thing is just a direct downgrade. Because in order for this thing's upsides to be realized, you have to put yourself at that risk of remaining hard scoped all the time so you can get headshot after headshot after headshot. And a lot of people don't know that you can activate the fucking, you can activate the focus whenever you want. It doesn't need to be fully charged. So if you can find yourself in an opportune moment to use a little bit of that focus to land sequential headshots over and over again, then in those brief moments, it can be pretty good. But again, you're putting yourself at that risk of remaining scoped in and reducing your own field of view. That just leaves you more vulnerable. And why would you ever do that when every other sniper rifle does not have that risk for something where you're just not unscoping and rescoping between reloads? It's not that much of a benefit in just normal casual play. In MVM, this thing's fucking broken. Snipers can solo entire missions in Man vs. Machine with just the Hitman's Heatmaker. But in like your normal casual gameplay, this thing is just not nearly, I'm gonna put it actually below the classic. It's just not nearly as effective as any other sniper rifle. It's still a sniper rifle, so it's still good. If you opt to never use the focus on this thing, you can still really fuck people's shit up because its headshots aren't changed. But here, that's also something else too. When you scope in with this thing, not only do you have increased tunnel vision, but then you have tracers that reveal your position. So it's like a two-edged sword. You make yourself more vulnerable when you scope in for extended periods of time and you reveal your position while remaining scoped in. It just really puts you as, you know, at risk for a sniper. Unless you're really fucking far away, then why are you using the focus, right? See, headshots being quieter makes absolutely no difference when snipers, you know, range of engagement is usually so far away that you can't even hear his shots anyways. Because in the midst of the cacophony of a normal game, how often are you hearing a sniper that's actively engaging you? You probably can't recall the last time you heard a sniper that shot you and landed a headshot on you. You usually just hear the crit sound. You almost never hear the firing sound whenever a sniper's picking shots at you because he's so fucking far away. The quieter shots on this thing are of no consequence at all. It's like, the upside might as well not even be there because you're not hearing a sniper who's engaging you when they're far away, which is again where he's the most effective. Yeah, actually you're right. I won't put it below the classic because you can still quick scope with it and you can still use this as like your normal functioning sniper rifle. You can have the complete option to not use the focus, right? And still be effectively the same kind of player. If you just land a body shot's only 15 less damage on no charge, right? It's not that huge of a downside. But then the upsides put the sniper at risk that why would you use them? Classic's probably the worst sniper rifle. Is it 40 damage? No, not 35, sorry. 40 damage body shots. 20% damage penalty on body shots. My bad. So it's 30 damage, so it only does 120 damage on full charge. Got it. Yeah, there's the Hitman's Heatmaker. Let's get the last one out of the way. So people really underrate the fucking piss gun because despite the fact that this thing can't headshot, the faster charge time on this thing is fucking ridiculous. You can crank out 150 shots over and over again, no fucking problem. And if you're aiming at people who are actively engaged in a fight, the fucking Durati that gets dumped on them, being followed up by damage from anyone else on your team, is fucking ridiculous. I have top scored countless times using this thing, just being an absolutely brain dead, body shot, full charge moron over and over again. It is really dumb. And yeah, it mini crits on headshot, so it's 63 damage on a quick scope, and then it's like 213, I think? 203, thank you, 203, not 213, 203, with a fully charged headshot on this thing. And the faster, the thing that really sells this is the faster charge. If it didn't have the faster charge, it'd be like down here. The fact you have to wait effectively no time at all to just get 150 is really awesome. Then at that point, you can just headshot with the normal sniper rifle. So why are you ever going for headshots with this thing? It's pretty fucking good. And see, no, I can't rate this thing higher than the Machina because it's just, this ekes out over this for the fact that it's just the stock sniper rifle with tracers and extra damage. So I cannot put this above the Machina. But yeah, this thing is really good and you can be pretty fucking scary with it. And it also kills medics way too easily, which is why it's banned in competitive, because you can charge 150 like that and one-shot a guy without having to land a headshot. Oh yeah, this thing's gnarly. But the fact it can't headshot, I'm not that upset with it. But the Girardi effect on this thing, people following up on it, ooh. If you're picking off single targets that aren't actively engaged in a fight, this thing's all around weaker. But if you're focusing on targets that are actively fighting anyone else on your team, this thing is ridiculously good. This is really heavily underutilized. I don't know why more people don't use this. Perhaps they've been so persuaded that you should always and only ever use these best options, because again, these are just insanely good when you can just use this for half the effort and be just as effective in terms of getting kills. Really, or assists. Thing is, sniper mains are saying it's shit because they get really mad when they get body shot by people with fully charged shots on this thing. That's just a fact, because if you want to fuck over another sniper that's railing your team, just camp out with this thing. Just get a full charge, peek out, and body shot them over and over and over again. It pisses them off. It is so fucking fun to do that, man. If you have a sniper that's railing your team and you're forced to go as the only thing that can counter the sniper, which is another sniper, use the fucking Sydney Sleeper and just hard focus that motherfucker down over and over again with charge shots. They get so fucking mad. It is so fun to watch them squirm in chat, man. They get fucking pissed. Oh, it's satisfying to do that shit. I come across some fucking UGC platinum sniper with like 6,000 hours on the class, melting through my entire fucking team, and then I whip out this thing, I body shot him a couple times, they fucking lose their goddamn mind. It's like their fucking nuts are in a vice and they are screaming like a little bitch. It is so fucking funny. If you ever come across people like that, which let's face it, if you're playing on any community server these days, you usually are, use this thing. Oh, it's so good. Oh, I love pissing people off with that, man. Oh, it's awesome. Fuck honor when it comes to fighting other snipers. Use whatever it takes to help you win, because fuck this class. Seriously. Why did no one complain about Sniper in 2017 below if he's so broken? 3 things have happened since 2017. So 1, this game has been inundated with cheaters and bots that only ever use Sniper that can exploit the actual maximum effectiveness this class can have. So people are realizing that, oh shit, this is bullshit. And then 2, you have more and more people who are really seasoned players that only pour time into Sniper that absolutely shut down and dominate community servers. These are guys that have like 1,000, 2,000, upwards of like 5,000 hours in this game, primarily on Sniper, and they completely shut down games. And as the game's age has moved along, we're getting more and more players like that. Again, not just with Sniper, but Sniper, it's the biggest problem because of that maximum effectiveness he can have at the higher end of the skill pool. And 3, more people are vocal about it, like myself. The bigger voices on YouTube and Twitch and what have you that play this game usually are more competitively oriented or are more oriented towards maintaining what the Sniper can do, whereas other people like myself have a voice now and we can actually like vocalize, hey, this class is bullshit and not as balanced as all these people like to say. But it's actually really funny. It's something I've really realized lately too. Just want to say something right now. I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm just explaining what I observe. Before I started making videos on YouTube, a vast majority of the popular content creators, what have you, most of them are usually competitively oriented. They take the game more seriously than your average player, either by playing competitive itself or by taking the game more seriously than just your average Joe. Like me, I'm just your average fucking Joe. And so when they see something like the Sniper and how effective you can be with it, why would you ever want to nerf it when it's as good as it is? And again, this is a big generalization, right? I'm not saying every bigger name in fucking TF2 content creation is like a fucking, you know, as a competitive lord, what have you. But this is something I've noticed as I've started making videos, more people like myself have decided to come out of the woodwork and like be more in favor of casual and more of casual play. And in casual play against competitive snipers who've dumped thousands of hours into the game on this one class, fucking sucks to fight against. And it's just made people realize that this class is a bit fucked. The idea that Sniper's broken has pretty much been around since the game's inception. I mean, it's just that no one with a platform has really vocalized the problem until very recently. And now that there are more people like myself who vocalize the issue, it's getting more attention. And also, I think the more primary driver is the bots in the game that are making people realize that, hey, Sniper's a bit fucky. Those are your main 3 reasons why more people are complaining about Sniper. His starter is probably the best and most fun sniper rifle for a terrible aimer. Yeah, that's why I use it. Oh, God. Talk about the Razorback. I hate this item. I don't know what they could do to make this weapon not fucking dumb. I despise mechanics in this game that turn off the mechanic of another class. This turns off the spy. He can't backstab you. I don't like the short circuit. That turns off Demo Man and Soldier. I didn't like the old Sandman because that turned off your ability to shoot. It was so fucking dumb. And any item like that I don't like except for the battalion's backup, because the only thing it turns off is headshots from Sniper, which is fine because Sniper sucks. So I'm okay with that. When it comes to the Razorback, it has an interesting history. So before, it had effectively the same mechanic, except it didn't recharge and you could still be overhealed. So in competitive games, all a sniper would have to do is run the Razorback, never worry about having to be backstabbed by a spy, and have a medic keep overhealing him to where it just became a constant battle between both snipers to see who could kill who first, and then they could just tank a headshot always because they had the overheal with it, and then they could lay waste to the enemy team after they got rid of their other team sniper, if they had like forgotten to overheal him, or if they managed to get like a fully charged shot on him, what have you. So before, this thing was in a way worse state because snipers were not only tanky in that they could tank headshots, but they could block backstabs. When they nerfed this thing to where you can't be overhealed, now it only blocks backstabs, which is, you know, what its original intention was supposed to be. And Spy is supposed to be the sniper's other main counter aside from himself, but this thing just turns that off, which is really fucking stupid. The sniper effectively uses this with no risk to himself. He sacrifices nothing to use this. A little bit of extra damage from his SMG. The only thing he sacrifices is using the Girardi Bushwhacker to just kill the spy that gets too close to him. It used to be more tolerable when the spy had the old ambassador, right? Because they could at least deal with the sniper at a range where he couldn't just melee them to death. But now, what does a spy have to do? A spy has to sacrifice his primary ability to kill someone in one shot at melee range to not only reveal himself using his fairly weak revolver with very wide, with, you know, janky spread, unless he's right next to the sniper. And if he misses his second or third shot, what can the sniper do? The sniper can immediately unscope, turn around and one-shot him to death with a quick scope, or turn around and one-shot him with a random crit, or start moving to where, oh fuck, my really janky and, you know, high RBS revolver shots aren't going to be that effective. Unless the spy can manage to land those 2 or 3 shots that he needs to down him, then he's fucked otherwise. And that's why I don't like this thing. It makes the spy take a much bigger risk to kill a sniper when the spy is already so hideously weak against everything else. Against spy checking, against pyros, against projectiles, what have you. It turns off the spy, which is fucking stupid. Any weapon designed to take away options from another class is poorly designed and should be made to give you more options, not take away options from another player. Yes! And that's why I fucking hate the Darwin's Danger Shield. I'm gonna put it in B tier actually, but it's the top of B tier. I fucking hate the Darwin's Danger Shield because this is another get out of jail free card for Sniper. If you don't have a pyro to worry about on the enemy team, then you never use this thing. Otherwise, it's useless. But as soon as there's a pyro on the enemy team, always equip this, because why wouldn't you double your health pool against the only class that is the most powerful at close range where you are supposed to be weak? That's fucking stupid. It punishes a pyro instead of rewarding him for managing to flank all the way around to get close to a sniper so he can kill him. This thing is yeah, we needed more counterplay for both spy and pyro, right? This thing fucks over pyro unless he's running a shotgun. Flares are useless because there's no afterburn, so the flares damage is cut in half and it does no afterburn, which is fucking stupid. If you get close to a sniper with this thing, you just walk them with your flamethrower. Oh, he now has 250 effective health, and if he's overhealed, he has even more. So then you're forced to go at him with your fucking shotgun. But then at that point, guess what the sniper can do? He can just walk at you with a melee and one-shot you. Oh, it's busted. So then you have to air blast him away so he can't do that, which puts him out of your effective range. So then you can't even kill him that way. It's so fucked up. I hate the Darwin's Danger Shield. And it's so funny because originally, this thing was just a hard counter to other snipers, so it made Sniper invulnerable to fucking fucking everything. Because counter to spy, turn around. Counter to sniper, oh, headshots do less damage with this thing, so I can't die to my other main counter. Yeah, you're right. I am gonna bump this. This is better than the fucking Razorback because it just turns off the pyro. It makes all of his damage dealing options, except for his melees and fucking shotguns, useless. And it gives the sniper a huge window of time to do one of several things. He can either go for a melee kill on the pyro, or he can just start juking and running away because guess what? The sniper and the pyro run at the same speed. So the sniper can just start walking away and usually survive long enough for the rest of his team to realize, oh shit, there's a pyro behind us. We should probably kill him. So fucking dumb, man. I fucking hate this thing. It exists in the same realm as the Razorback where it turns off another class's ability. It gives another class fewer options instead of the same class more options. Fucking hate this item as much as I do the Razorback for the same reasons. It's awful. Yet another get out of jail free card against something he is supposed to be weak against. And that makes no sense to me. Why keep giving him items that make him stronger against the things he's supposed to be weak against? It makes no sense for balance. Fuck this thing and fuck this thing. Let's compare this item to the Charge and Targe. So we have the Charge and Targe on demo, which effectively has the exact same balancing factor. You have a 50% resistance to fire, but what do you sacrifice as a demo man? You sacrifice your main source of damage that is your sticky bomb launcher to use the Charge and Targe, and you still take afterburn. You can charge with it, and you can tank blast damage as well, but in order to have a similar bonus on a different class, you sacrifice so much more in order to get that. But on Sniper, you sacrifice nothing. It's usually just a direct upgrade unless you're going for the fucking Girardi. Yeah, sacrificing the SMG is not enough, but I'm putting it at A tier. You wanna know why I'm putting the SMG at A tier? Because stock Sniper with the sniper rifle, the SMG, and his fucking Kukri, no random crits, is probably the most balanced version of Sniper that exists. Because it makes him strong at close range and then weak at close range. His main secondary item should be weak, but he's rewarded for keeping that stream of bullets on his opponent. And it can be good, and it rewards your skill for doing that. This item can be just as good as any of his other secondary options, but you have to actually use your fucking brain. Whenever you're using this, or this, or this, or this, your brain just shuts off and you don't have to worry about things that can get close to you and kill you. When you're running this, someone gets close to you, oh, now I have to actually aim in order to survive. Instead of getting a free one-shot kill, instead of just removing the damage, instead of countering one of my main counters by turning him off, instead of being unable to flinch, this thing actually requires a brain to use, and if you can usually just melt through people with this thing. It can be really good. Yeah, 100 DPS isn't anything to scoff at close range. It can be very good. It rewards skill by letting a sniper stay alive by using this thing. But why would you ever use this thing? Why ever use the SMG when random crits exist? Why ever use the SMG when you can have a free on-demand crit? Why ever use the SMG when I can double my health against the close range class that I'm supposed to be weak to? Why ever use the SMG when I can turn off my main counter? Why use the SMG when I can choose to not flinch and have health regen without having to fucking think about anything? This is the most balanced and usually the most fun to use. Using this makes Sniper way more interesting instead of just standing in one spot and clicking on heads all day. Because let's face it, that's what the Sniper boils down to. And when it comes to the Sniper, he has the most lack of depth in this entire game in terms of mechanics. Every other class in this game has an insanely high amount of mechanical depth in terms of like movement and shooting and aim with projectiles, you know, juking out a scout, combos with pyro, shit you gotta worry about with engineer, mechanics is spy. When it comes to Sniper, he is the most mechanically shallow of all the classes, because what do? You stand and you click on fucking heads. And that's the only thing you have to worry about. You don't have to worry about positioning, because if you're far enough away, you're fine. Every now and again, you might need to turn around and assume that there might be someone close to you that can kill you, but then you have all these things that can save your ass as a get out of jail free card. Most of the time, you're standing in one spot and clicking on heads. And yeah, even more mechanically deeper than the Heavy, because the Heavy at least has to worry about positioning and timing in order to actually get kills, because his effective range is close to medium. So if he mistimes his spin-ups, or fucks up on his positioning, he just fucking dies, usually to a Sniper. So compared to any other class in the game, Sniper is the most mechanically shallow. The fewest things to worry about in terms of actually being effective, and the fewest things to worry about in terms of his counters. in any other video game where headshots happen. Those skills so easily translate over into Team Fortress 2 because it's a non-unique mechanic, clicking on a head. If you have 9,000 hours in CSGO, you come play sniper in TF2, it's literally the exact same thing, if not easier to use, because the sniper rifle in TF2 has fewer things to balance it out like it does in CSGO. It's harder to quickscope with the fucking op in CSGO because now you can't get a perfectly accurate shot anymore like you used to. There's a bit of, you know, wobble when you do the initial zoom in. Sniper only relies on aim and clicking heads and moving a little bit so enemy snipers can't hit him. That's all he has to worry about. Every other class has to worry about positioning in close quarters combat, has to worry about aim with projectiles and weapons that have damage, random bullet spread, and damage fall off. Sniper doesn't gotta worry about any of that. He has to worry about picking a spot where people can't see him and then just clicking on heads. Most mechanically shallow. That's all there is to it. Tribalman Shiv. I mean, it's just kind of underwhelming, really. There's not, it's like, I find this is probably like my least used sniper melee. How useful is bleed? You have bleed, this thing can still random crit, but it does just less damage overall. It's a really underwhelming mechanic because if you're bleeding a spy, I would just still go for my normal stock melee damage and smack people with it. Bleed on hit is good, but it's not good enough in comparison to his other melee options. It can still get the job done, but it's still just mostly effective on against like a spy, right? Because if you can hit a spy once, that reveals who he is, and if he cloaks, it reduces the amount of time you're bleeding. And even then, the extra damage from bleed takes time to have some kind of significant effect. It's like, what, 4 damage per tick? So you're still having to wail on someone for longer periods of time to kill them, because that bleed's not going to be active for long enough to make up for its lack of damage. Melee fights with sniper are usually a lot shorter, so you don't have a lot of time for this thing to be that impactful for your benefit unless that person's already on low health. But then at that point, just use any other fucking melee. The only time when this thing, I guess, I'm gonna put it lower. It's like down here. The upside on this thing only comes into effect when you die, right? Because you land a swing and then that extra damage you're dealing with bleed has a longer amount of time to go into effect, and then they might die or they might get to a health kit and survive. So I find this thing just to be all around fairly weak because of the fact that its bonus damage from bleed is just not active long enough for it to make up for those initial swings that have lower damage all around. Yeah, this is probably just objectively the weakest item in Sniper's arsenal, by far. It's only useful, but only marginally useful against spies on reveal, but again, cloaking makes the bleed not last as long, and then if you're in some sort of long, drawn-out melee fight, you're still gonna lose because you're doing less damage per swing all the time. So why would you use it? The Shahanshah makes more sense, because this thing always elongates your fights, whereas this thing helps you out in an elongated melee fight. I'm gonna bump this, actually. This helps you out more so in a longer melee fight than this thing does. Because in longer melee fights, you're taking damage, but then you're able to deal more damage. Whereas with this thing, you're always stuck at what, 50% damage penalty? With the bleed, that bleed doesn't have enough time to do anything for your benefit. So you usually just die if you're caught out in a fight. You're usually mostly using this thing if you're wanting to chase after a spy, or if you're wanting to, like, I guess, help someone out. Like if there's a heavy fucking punch at somebody else, you can whip out this thing and go fucking smack them. I think the Tribalman Shiv does randomly crit. Yeah, it does randomly crit, but the random crit only does 98 damage. It's pitiful. It's really low. So even if you do manage to randomly crit someone, you're not gonna one-shot kill them. Unless it's a light class, then it only needs a few ticks of the bleed to actually follow up on that. But again, yeah, it's absolutely laughable damage when the sniper needs that damage to survive at close range with his melees. So why sacrifice that for follow-up damage that's not gonna be around for your benefit? But is it broken? No. Does it need to be buffed? No. If you Jarate someone with this, if you Jarate with it, though, yeah, then you get the fucking mini crit bleed. Dude, you get fucking 6 or 5 damage per tick. But then you could have just one-shot them with this anyway, so why would you ever use this thing with Jarate? Unless you pair it with this, but then use the Bushwhacker. It's like, just because the Bushwhacker exists, why would you ever use this thing? It's like the same problem that medics primaries have. Why ever use any other medic primary when the crossbow is so fucking good that there's no point in using any other medic primary? Why bother using any other sniper melee when the Bushwhacker Jarate is so fucking good as a get-out-of-jail-free card for an on-demand crit? Oh! But even if this didn't exist, this is still the worst option. Hands down. Yeah, you could have done 195 for free, or 98 damage on a crit, plus, what, 60 damage? 40 damage on bleed? Something like that? 40 damage, I think, is the bleed amount. So, yeah, stock is infinitely better than the Tribalman Shiv. Hands down. Hands down, Sniper's worst item, for sure. I'm gonna put it lower. E. It's pretty bad. It's low. It's E. It's E, for sure. It's, ugh. No good. I'm gonna do the Huntsman last. So let's do this thing. This thing is strange. So it's good, but only sometimes. I'm gonna put it like, I'm gonna leave it in bottom of C tier for now. The Cozy Camper is another one of those items that turns off one of Sniper's main balancing points, in that when you have a full charge, you don't get flinched. Which to me, that's a dumb mechanic because the Sniper should be flinched. Him not being flinched is dumb, because then what's a player good? What are you supposed to do? Your only option at distance is to either get the fuck out of the way or try to flinch the Sniper. But if he can't be flinched, you're fucked, and he can just kill you anyway. It's like, it's really bad. The only downside to using this thing is you're sacrificing any other more useful secondary option. But again, this is another one of those items where the Sniper largely sacrifices nothing, and he can just turn his brain off, get a passive health regen, and every now and again prevent himself from getting flinched and not have to worry about that downside to his abilities, right? It's just, it trades a secondary to not flinch. It's really fucking good. I'm gonna bump it up a little bit. It's still C tier because these other options are so good. So, but this is still, it's still pretty good, pretty damn good. The only thing is that you have to be fully charged. So if you're using it with a stock sniper rifle, this upside of no flinching is rarely realized unless you're hard scoping, which is again, putting yourself more at risk to anything that's not in your field of view. And why are you hard scoping for that long ever as a sniper, right? Because quick scoping is just so much more effective than hard scoping all the time, unless you're going for extra bonus damage. And if you're using an item where you're wanting to charge more often, either the City Sleeper or the Machina, this thing's really good because you find yourself hard scoping more often, and by the time you get that full charge, then, oh, I don't have to worry about getting flinched, and I can actually make that shot count on either of these weapons. And it's probably the most effective with the piss gun because of that faster base charge, because you can more frequently get that lack of a flinch with this item. In terms of all of the Snipers get out of jail free cards, I would consider this one the most balanced, because the Sniper has to sacrifice remaining scoped in for a long enough time. He has to put himself at risk to actually get that benefit of no flinching. But that no flinch is really fucking powerful, because then what's gonna stop a sniper from hitting you if you're at a distance? You can't flinch him. It's a strong upside, but you have to actually sacrifice your entire field of view to make use of it. So in that way, it's easily Sniper's most balanced secondary option, next to the SMG. I wouldn't say this is good with the Huntsman, because if you're using the Huntsman, you're usually going for faster kills that you want to follow up with something like the SMG, because you do like 120 and then you do a few pod shots with this thing and then your target's down. The passive regen on this thing is usually pretty good for when you're hanging out at a distance and you're taking chip damage from people that are, you know, picking at you, because that lower amount of health regen goes from like 1 and caps at 4, something like that, or it's like always 4. I think it starts at 1 and ramps up to 4. But yeah, that's only super useful when you're, you know, having to just regen those small amounts of lost health from stuff that actually manages to get to you. I would still consider this like the most balanced of the Snipers secondaries. It's good. There's a risk reward with this thing, a much higher risk reward with this thing than any of these other options. Because again, you got to stay scoped in. You have to punish yourself with tunnel vision to get that no flinch. And it's more powerful with this and this. And with this, if you're a god at sniper and can get enough heads, and then you never have to worry about remaining scoped in for too long to worry about that shot going to waste. So yeah. And last but not least, the Huntsman. I love the Huntsman, dude. Oh man, the Huntsman is just cocaine manifest into a fucking weapon, man. I love the fucking Huntsman. It is so ridiculously fun. As janky as the head hitboxes are, as janky as the hit reg is, man, this just completely changes how you play Sniper and puts him in the same category as all of the other classes in the game. It turns him into a medium to medium far range projectile class. It puts himself more at risk to actually make use of this thing, because at far range, spamming this thing isn't going to do that much benefit for you unless you're just spamming it down a choke where you know people are going to go, just like any other projectile in this game. It best benefits when a sniper is really aggressive at medium to close range, and it is so fucking fun. In my opinion, it usually pairs best with the SMG, because you can pick someone for 120 at a full charge and then, you know, follow up with the SMG. This combo, SMG Huntsman, is so good, and it's so fucking fun. It is so satisfying. You don't need to get headshots with this thing in order for it to be satisfying, man. It's wicked fun. It's awesome. I do find the inconsistency of the head hitboxes to be a bit frustrating on both ends. So one, certain classes have bigger head hitboxes in general, right? That's just like how hit scan works normally. But the differences between the head hitbox sizes from class to class are really small. Hitting headshots with any other sniper rifle from class to class isn't that different. Usually the differences are noticed from behind because some heads are easier to hit from behind or from like a side profile. But when it comes to hit scan, not that much of a difference. But the head hitbox sizes from class to class are so different because of how, I think Shonik did a video on this, on how the projectile will automatically map to the head depending on where it hits in the projectile bounding box, because it uses the points that are closest to the head hitbox on the bounding box to determine whether or not it's a headshot. And depending on the size of the class, you have a larger head hitbox area. So for example, on the bounding box for the scout, because of how small the class is, more points on the bounding box count as headshot hitboxes than any other class. Because on the bounding box for the heavy, it's way smaller because his head is a lot higher to the top of that bounding box, so there's fewer points on that bounding box that count as headshot registration area, which is actually really interesting. The mechanics of how it works is very fascinating to me. It's actually a very intuitive and very clever solution to the idea, where they do this weird three-dimensional projection of that target vector directly to a head, using like a nearest neighbor sort of algorithm to figure out, okay, what is the distance between that position on the bounding box to the head? Registered as a headshot? Yes, no. It's very interesting, in my opinion, very clever and intuitive way to like make this thing headshot. But as a result, you have very high inconsistencies, where this weapon is just objectively better against certain classes compared to others, because it's way better on scout because the head hitbox is higher, but it's the worst on heavy because his head hitbox is the smallest against the Huntsman. So those inconsistencies are frustrating for a sniper, because you can be, lobbing a shot at someone. It's like, whoa, why didn't that hit scan, or why didn't that shot do a crit? Because, it looked like it was close to his head, but no, because of where it landed on the bounding box, it didn't count. But then if you're playing against a Huntsman sniper, something that looks like it would have never counted as a headshot, it headshots you. The inconsistencies with the head hitboxes on this thing are admittedly very annoying. Is it as annoying as dealing with a regular god of a sniper in a regular game? No, I don't think so. And the fact that the sniper has to put himself much more at risk to actually use those things and get close enough to his target to get those headshots, unless again he's spamming it down a choke point, it makes this a lot more balanced, I think. And a lot of fun to use. It's really fun. And yeah, also, to anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, I highly recommend that you go watch Shonik's video. Here, this is a good visualization. So let's say the arrow hits here, because this point on the bounding box is the closest to the head hit scan hitbox, it will automatically map it to a headshot crit. Whereas if it mapped down here, this point down here is closer to any other hit scan hitbox on the scout's body, so it won't register as a headshot. So if you look at the head hitboxes on, say, the scout, it's fucking massive. This red area counts as a crit. Whereas if you go to something like look how small the medics is. The medics is super tiny because this area on the bounding box, only these areas map to the medic. And then if you go to the sniper, pretty decent size spot. Where's the heavy? Where was the heavy? Heavy. Look at how small the heavy's is. Because again, look at how close the heavy's head hitbox is to the top of the bounding box. So you have significantly fewer points on the bounding box that are closer to the heavy's head hit scan hitbox than any other hit scan hitbox, right? So look at how small it is in compared to the fucking scout's head hitbox. So you literally have to be shooting down onto a heavy in order for it to count as a crit. Or you have to shoot from behind in order for it to count as a crit. Whereas on scout, you effectively hit anywhere on half his fucking bounding box and it's a crit. These inconsistencies are all over the place and are really fucking bizarre. And this to me is probably Shonik's most fascinating video and easily the most informative. A lot of people didn't understand how the Huntsman worked and how headshots, map to the actual hit scan hitboxes. And this is like about as good of a visualization as we're ever gonna get. It's an absolutely perfect and really well informative video. So go watch it if you haven't yet. It's fucking awesome. We did it. That's it. It's done. That's all of them. We've done all 9 classes. We've finished the tier lists. It's over. I can breathe now. Man, we fucking did it.